Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to GameStar TV. Once again, thank you for being so patient while we sorted out the audio issues. We didn't get an intro or anything like that done. We just jumped straight into the game because we're a little bit over time. But if you have just joined us, you're on GameStar TV for the Blizzard ANZ Heroes of the Storm qualifiers for Season 2. We are into Week 3. And once again, my name is Kit Fox. I am your host. You heard Skinny and Vandy, your casters on both play-by-play and analyst. Producer Crisis is pushing the buttons behind the curtain tonight, and Avexium is the community manager who will be liaising with all of the players. If you have just joined us, Leighton Hewitt FC and Trump Sports went head-to-head on the Infernal Shrines, and the Trump Sports came out on top. And Jim Jam, the skin magnet, picking himself up an MVP nomination into the GameStar MVP program. That'll be drawn at the end of the season, and that's for all the players to win. But I tell you what, there's a lot on offer for you, the viewers, as well. Just for joining us tonight, you get the chance to win a Proteus bundle thanks to Blizzard ANZ. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to open up the raffle. So to enter, all you need to do is type !GS2Q into the Twitch chat right now. So that is for the Proteus bundle. So you get the hero and the Terran skin, I believe. And that's all made possible thanks to Blizzard ANZ, as well as our other sponsors, Plantronics, Player.me, Challenge, and XSplit. And without their support, there will be no prizes and no sweet swag to give away. And later on, we will be giving away a Deluxe Machines of War bundle as well. Sorry, we're going to open up the entrance for that because we've got 2 of those to give away. We'll draw them at the end of the season as well because they're about a $40 value each, and there's 2 of those to win. So there'll be 2 links for you to follow later on, but stay tuned because we'll get that active after the next game because we're going to go right now into Battlefield of Eternity for City Walk and the Onyx United. So once again, I'm going to pass you back to your faithful casters, Skinny and Vandy, because we're going over to BOE. It is time for some infernal action. Some infernal action. So let's go.
That's the way, Kitty. Yeah, here we are, guys. Obviously, City Walk United up against one another. We're just waiting for that lobby to have everybody join on in. And if we actually have a look at how these 2 teams have met their match, they did play against each other in week number 1. City Walk did take the win up against Onyx United in the best of 1. So if that's anything to go by, they should still have the advantage in Vandy.
I hope they have the advantage. I mean, it's always about playing on that home ground and playing on your sort of strengths and things like that. Battlefield of Eternity, it's just an all-for-one brawl. I love this map, Skimmy. I'm not sure about yourself. You also a fan of this one?
Well, I do, especially if I get Grayman or Valor. If I have those 2 heroes, I feel like I can carry. And if I have anything else, then I just lose my Hero League games. So it's quite depressing.
Oh, is this one where you haven't gone so long past? Well, hopefully these teams can tell you a thing or 2 that you can then take into Hero League, right?
That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to get inspired by these drafts. I mean, what I am actually really inspired by, I don't know if you guys can see in the draft just yet, but the lobby on the side of City Walk, they all have Azmodan portraits, and that's just like rocking up to work in your uniform. So they're on the money. They're definitely coming here to win some prizes.
They're, decked out. They're showing that solidarity where, we've already got everything underway, and it's all about bringing that Azmodan team. We love that Azmodan, especially in this ANZ scene. But what I want to see here, Skimmy, is just heroes where they excel at brawling, essentially, because there's just one objective, and you have to fight for him, essentially, as well as anyone that can sort of take auto-attack sort of heroes, or anyone that's good at just shredding does really well on this map as well because of how large the Immortals' health pool is.
Well, that's it. I mean, we've seen in the past a lot of priorities, like I've already touched on, with the Greymane, with the Li Ming. Yeah, actually, with Li Ming, Valor. We even saw a little bit of Lunara pop up last week, which was actually a really strong pick on this map, but for a long time has been out of favor. So a few different champions falling into the fold of things. But it looks like we've already got this lobby ready to rock and roll, Vandy. We're going to jump into the draft, see how both of these 2 teams rock and roll, and we will know who is going to be the victor for week number 3.
Speaking of rock and roll, I think we're either going to see ETC picked or banned first up on this as well. He's too good on a brawler-centric map, I think, to either, if you're not going to pick him, if you're not first pick, you should ban him out. But whether they do that or not, I mean, I'm just on the sidelines here. I just feel like that's something that they should prioritize.
Just throwing thoughts at this stage.
Exactly. I'm hoping that by sort of forecasting my thoughts, they'll be able to pick up on it. fingers crossed.
Well, that's the way. I think it's happened in the past, right? We've talked about something and it's translated directly onto the screen. But if we bring it back to when we first had Battlefield of Eternity, obviously different teams, but the bans that we saw were Fausted and Malfurion in that first rotation. Slightly different. Green Jesus himself, Thrall, is currently being hovered by the side of Onyx United. Just have had such a bad time against that big bruiser.
I mean, what Thrall can bring to that team as well is just a lot of crowd control and Earthquake especially. Now that sort of has had favor or over Sundering, you can just lock out a huge area and make it really tricky for your team to sort of get in there. On the opposing team to sort of get in there. You're just all trapped and then everyone's just going to pounce on you. So I do like what Thrall brings, but instead they said, no, we were just playing with this game. Green Jesus here, just Ragnaros.
Yeah, you can't go ever wrong with a big Ragnaros. I mean, he's one of those heroes, especially on this map, which can either accelerate or keep you guys in the fold of things. If you do lose that Punisher in the mid lane, then, hey, you got a big Ragnaros in that Molten Core form to defend that fort or that keep for just a little bit long. But, hey, if you guys are winning, here's a big man from the background chucking out fire left, right, and center. The response, though, from the side of CityWalk is they don't want Lucio. No beats are going to be dropped down tonight. And with that, the very first pick has now been handed over to Onyx United, which go for Artanis.
Ooh,
Wow.
I mean, I like that. I was stunned for a moment, but I actually do like that. And why I like that is I guess they're telegraphing, bring your auto attackers because we've got a giant blind for them, or we've got someone who can stick quite well to them, especially because Artanis is one of those bruisers where you just don't want to be left alone with him chasing down your tail.
He's one of those bruisers that, the longer the fight goes on, if you don't really have too much burst, he will single-handedly kill all of you. And let's not touch on the fact that he can do an immense amount of work also onto the Immortals in the mid lane as well. So combined with the Valor pick there, pretty self-explanatory. You're going to go for that Hungering Arrow build, look to single-handedly carry at least 50% of your team's damage when it comes to working down that one. And the Malfurion means they get first pick in terms of the support. They decided to run the Valor with the Mouth as opposed to the Tassadar, which now actually would be a really good pairing with that Artanis.
Oh, if they pick up the Tassadar, I would think that CityWalk might feel like they're in a little bit of pain right there because they'll just have that Malfurion. It will deny them. It'll be a very strong denial pick as long as Onyx United can play him. But otherwise, if the Tassadar gets through, Vala's going to be having a field day, Skimmy. She's going to be feeling safe as she sort of shoots from the sidelines. But I'm not sure if they want to sort of use Tassadar in the team comp, similar to how we were talking about whether we saw the last team want to pick up Zarya. I feel like they're going to, not pick Alarak or Brightwing. Those definitely didn't cross my mind.
No. It's Team Protoss with a Fairy Dragon just to add a bit of spice into the mix.
These, I feel, are comfort picks for sure, Skimmy. That Brightwing and the Alarak, I mean, by banning out the Lucio, they've gone, the next best thing. If you're worried about that, Brightwing sort of does something similar to what Lucio does, which is providing that area of effect healing in sort of a range, as well as that polymorph, letting Brightwing lock down a target as well. It can be very advantageous in a brawl-centric map.
It kind of feels like they're laying down all their cards and saying, look, this is what we're trying to do. Now you've got to respond to us. That gives actually a lot of advantages to CityWalk because they can now base their bans and their draft accordingly. I mean, Alarak is a pick that doesn't really see too much competitive play. Really is that kind of hero that you play in your hero leagues. If you're quite proficient at him, you alone can carry the game. But when it comes to that competitive element, he just gets shut down rather easily. And I mean, the Brightwing being picked up that early as well. Sure, it's kind of saying, hey, if you run that Tassadar, we're going to have a big polymorph to deny that Vala really finding any single-handed carry ability. But the Brightwing this early on still is a bit questionable.
I'm not sure, but there we go. There was the Tassadar ban right there. They just knew that it was going to give too much if they gave it to CityWalk, too much on their play to deal with as well. Like you said, they don't quite have all the tools. They're missing a bit. This just sort of evens the playing field a bit, and it was a very smart ban choice. I actually like the Li Ming ban as well from CityWalk because it says you've already got two heroes that have a lot of displacement and ability to shuffle things around, and combined with the Brightwing where I actually can't respond to it, like be Volt or move out of it. The Li Ming would not only do work to the Immortal, but also definitely set up plenty of kills. Now, ETC, given that ETC has such a big presence on this map, is locked in. They've also accelerated it even further with the Sylvanas, so CityWalk feeling extremely confident with their ability to control this objective. CityWalk are feeling very confident, I feel, Skimmy, by the way they're drafting. They're definitely going for something a little bit closer to the meta than what Onyx United have. Onyx United look like they're definitely playing more towards comfort, but by picking up that Johanna and Thrall as well, it looked like they were playing with that mentality of if we don't get Thrall, we don't want you guys to have Thrall. But they felt confident enough to let it through, so they picked him right up. And that sort of they've gone full team fight, Skimmy, the way Onyx United have drafted, because they've got such strong initiators on their team, and as well as high burst.
What I would really like to see on the side of City Walk now is for them to lock in a Loyoric. Because, I mean, let's look at actually what Onyx United have. They have no ranged assassin unless you think Brightwing is a ranged assassin. Everybody is melee. Everybody is looking to get into your face and cause some carnage. But if they get outranged, if they get out-kited by the Valar and Sylvanas, that's pretty disastrous. The final pick is going to be the Kel'Thas, so triple ranged up against essentially 4 melee. It's going to come down to a clash of the titans with this one, Vandy.
It's really going to be who can get the better team fight off. And I mean, looking at that ETC, it really does worry me, Skimmy, as I sort of said. It gives them a lot of that initiation to really shut down what Onyx United is trying to bring to the sort of fight.
Malfurion and ETC are going to have an absolute field day because the amount of value that their power slide and entangling roots are going to be able to generate sets up really nicely for what the rest of City Walk have to offer. You're going to have the Rain of Vengeance combined with the Gravity Lapse as well. If these fights are sustained around a certain location, if Kel'Thas opts for the Phoenix as well, that's a lot of damage that they can be taking, and Brightwing's not going to be able to keep up with that. So if we look at the ultimate choices, I'm really expecting to see Thrall go Earthquake here to empower and allow this melee comp to actually be within range and make up that distance that they're going to otherwise struggle against.
Definitely. I think he has to take Earthquake, otherwise they're just going to find it so difficult in team fights. And also, it really will then set up the way for Johanna to open with Bliss Shield as well. So giving them a lot of that lockdown, but I want to see how this plays out, Skimmy. We're in the game now. I'll kick things off. I'll introduce Onyx United on the red team. We've got Chucky playing Thrall, Ack the Man on Johanna, Iron Tarkus on Alarak, Ms. Hyde on Brightwing, and Prox on Artanis.
That's the way. And on the left-hand side, rocking the blue team this time, we do have City Walk, and it's going to be Blank DPSing on Vala, Tall Dude on ETC, Malo on Malfurion, MKL on Kel'Thas, and Iota on Sylvanas.
Alrighty, Skimmy, let's get this underway. And just looking right off the bat at the talents, we can see Bella off the bat has gone for the Hungering Arrow. I'm interested to see what Artanis picked. He did pick Amateur Opponent, and that's great to hear. It means that when it comes to the Immortals, he can do extra damage on them, and that's exactly what you want to see. It's all about making sure that you can race the Immortal down quicker than your opponent.
Big reason why Artanis would have been picked in this map, but let's have a look at these map lineups. So we've got Sylvanas, which is actually going to go for the solo lane, which is a huge misconception, and I get it all the time on my games. People thinking that Sylvanas is a solo laner, and she isn't. Sorry to burst your bubble. She's going to have a hard time up against Artanis here, but if she can keep her ground, really utilize her ability to stay ranged and not get swapped, she should be fine. But in the bot lane, that's where all the carnage is going to be about. All these melee heroes looking to jump on, try and collapse onto one of these squishy ranged assassins and get an early kill before the first Punisher spawns.
Definitely. This Kel'Thas, he's doing it right. We saw a couple of questionable ones last week where they didn't feel confident enough to take Convection. This one, he's saying, nah, I'm feeling it. I've taken the Convection. I've already got 6 stacks into it. So MKL showing that we want full aggressive Kel'Thas tonight. So it's great to see.
He's not scared whatsoever about that ability to get burst upon by these heavy bruisers that have an extremely strong early game. He just wants full damage. He wants the ability to kill members, and he wants to make sure that they know. With that in mind already, a lot of pressure has been bounced onto the side of Onyx United. ETC setting up a lot of that with the power slides, once again finding another opportunity to jump on into the fold of things, and a lot of this really is going to come down to it, Vandy. ETC utilising his ability to peel, because if those bruisers get on top of his carries, it's all over from there.
Exactly right. They need to make sure that ETC is in a position to either set up for them or peel for them. And he's not going to get that setup potential until that all-important level 10 coming into play.
Well, it looks like Sylvanas actually had a pretty easy time up in the top lane, taking a little bit of a chunk of her health, but otherwise relatively unscathed. Has the Haunting Wave there for scouting ability, but the jump on is already happened here by Blank. Great job by him to use the Hungering Arrow so early on. He does get stunned out as I give him a compliment. So that is Caster's Curse at its finest. Sylvanas is rocking him down to the fight now. They're going to make it a 4v4. She's got the flanking position. The best position for her, but nobody does capitalise on that. And Tall Dude, well, he is a bruiser, but he just does not have the sustain to take that many members this early on.
Definitely. I was actually feeling for him because I thought he was going to get caught there. But luckily that the silence coming out of Alarak did not connect, allowing him to power slide away into the safety of his team. But got a little bit messy there. And you can see this Immortal race. I mean, it's really, really close at the moment, but it's definitely being favoured by City Walk at the moment. By Onyx United.
Yeah, I was going to say Onyx United actually have the mana pool and the sustained damage to actually survive this one. If you actually look at what Onyx United did, they had no mana across the board. We saw Johanna expend the very last bit of her mana using that shield glare to try and blind those auto attackers with just a few more extra moments, but it wasn't enough. And with that, the first immortal does spawn for City Walk, and expect to find them getting immense value as a result of that Sylvanas pick in the draft.
This is what you sort of get afraid for, and this is why the sneaky Sylvanas is often chanced upon in this map, because once you get that immortal, Sylvanas can just really enable it to the best of its ability, and by disabling those fortifications, making it ever that much harder. And as well as they're so melee centric, they really don't have a lot of that range damage. They actually can sort of be a little bit scared.
Oh, they're going to get suffered upon really hard here. AC the Man just tanks that whirlwind like an absolute beast, but it doesn't matter because the beast is upon him. ETC slamming him with the guitar and taking him out for free right there. And there's not really much they can do to respond right now. You've got Artenis trying to get into the fold of things, and even Alarak using the telekinesis to try and displace members where he can see fit. It just does not matter, but they do find a brace up in the top lane. They do get the kill with Thrall, and they take out the Valor.
That was perfect to see. With their mortal down, he's definitely cleared the front part of their first fortifications. That really leaves them open to getting rushed upon. And I mean, to just show how much the rain damage is sort of hurting them, Kelthus has already finished his convection tower. He's stacked it all up because it's not hard for him to get all those all-important flame strikes off.
Yeah, everybody within his reach, making it relatively easy to collapse upon. And there we go. Oh, big power slide as the rest of the team rocking up. They do walk off the point, which is a little bit too long. It does result in them losing the camp, but picking up the Brightwing kill. A consolation prize at that does mean they're going to win that race to level 7. But if we talk about the talents, Vandy, one thing I do want to highlight, one variation on that Kel'Thas is the fact he's gone for mana tap at level 4. So he's opting to go for extra sustain in the mana department, but he's done that as opposed to the Gravity Crush talents, which, you know, given that there's all these bruisers looking to jump upon him, I would have expected him to do that for a reduced cooldown.
Me too, especially because Malfurion, I checked to see said it, Malfurion did pick up Shando's Clarity, so Innovate's going to be available to him more often than not. So really, that is mana hungry by Kel'Thas by mana tap up. Like, I don't see the reason why. It's sort of almost doubling up. Maybe once again, no faith. There's no faith coming from these Kel'Thas.
No faith in a support player.
They want to carry and support and do it all. But, I mean, it's working for them. So, you can see another camp then being picked up by City Walk. They're making sure that they've got intense map pressure going on, seeking sort of every objective they can get their hands on. Yes, they didn't get the one, the bottom mercenary camp, but they did pick up a kill. So, they're playing it really aggressive.
Yeah, Sylvanas was actually playing with the devil there because she was extremely low, and if Thrall had decided to actually face check that, would have picked up an extremely easy kill. But look at this, MKL doing what Kel'Thas does best and spreading the fire amongst every single member on the side of Onyx United. They're clumping up like a unit, and that's exactly what you want to see happen here. But Tooldude is jumping on in with these power slides relentlessly. He just does not care. What I'd love to see, though, is some follow-ups with these entangling roots, or even just a gravity lapse to make happen. But Iota, wow, look at that, the haunting wave, clutch as it might be, comes in at the very last second, escaping on 80 health. And the living bombs doing work, Vandy. They pick up one kill, make that 2 with Brightwing dropping on down as well. They are looking just for utter decimation. And this is one of those weaknesses with a melee-heavy comp.
Proxy could taste the kill. He wanted his dash to go off. It wasn't enough for Iota. He just got baited at the end of the day. And then after that, it was all about the living bomb spreading and taking out the rest of his team members. So they had to give this immortal up. He's going to have a huge shield because they wasted a lot of their time trying to get that brawl. Iota didn't fall, so they got so punished for it. Skimmy, it's just devastating to see. Now it's going to be even harder to clear this next immortal.
Absolutely. The amount of value if we fought that level 1 with that punish shield was good. Talk about a second rotation Punisher. This is them getting so dangerously close now to level 10. Hitting that all-important power spike. Expect to see this fort drop without any contention whatsoever. And then just pull the switch. They hit level 10, they make a fight happen, and they win solely based on that. And look at that. Artenis, before anything's even happened, decides to pay for it with his life.
He just wanted to go out being the hero, stole that level 10, instead it had the opposite effect. And oh, that was a huge power slide going out there.
Yeah, huge power slide denied by the telekinesis just temporarily, but it's going to be an entangling route that does not find too much value. But AC Man has run the wrong way. He has given up his life as well. Iron Skin going to be used as a delay tactic, if anything, and it's done actually a good job. It's baited away 3 members, crucially speaking, the Sylvanas, for that in order to find any value. And look at that, suddenly we were talking about MKL being mana hungry. He's kill hungry, and he's probably screaming, where is my team? because he drops him down with that Punisher pushing.
This is why he had no trust in the support. We just saw it. But that's what you get for being too power hungry. And Atana's getting swept up by the entanglement roots. Instantly the Twilight Dream went out, picked them again. This is a huge Immortal push that they've got going, Skimmy. In fact, they could even take the keep, but I don't think they want to play it too risky right now. They're backing out. They're saving for another day.
That's disastrous. This keep has to drop. Look at that health bar. 200 health out of a possible health pool of 14,000. That is actually a huge misplay to leave that one up and alive, because the amount of pressure that it pushes with just cannot be contested.
They're just playing a very safe game, Skimmy. They did not want to give them any level 10 experience. Not yet. They said you got to go to the lanes and earn it. And they've backed away. They know that they can sort of tap it in later, I hope. But as you said, it's just so low. And even Sylvanas could easily just have run up to it, tapped it, gotten it. I mean, there was no one really there to contest. But it's all about being... It's hard to make these calls, right? You want to also play it cautious. You don't want to throw the game.
I mean, yes and no. I almost feel like they should have just gone for it, because at that stage, Onyx United did not have ultimates. They've picked up the ultimates now. We do see a mosh pit come out. Instantly cancels by the telekinesis. Beautiful stuff there, but it's just not going to be enough. Purify Beam has come out onto the ETC now, which is doing a great job just to run on away. Phoenix, as we talked about in the draft, is used, and it's going to find a little bit of value as they walk away from this minion wave. Shaman Camp, picked up earlier, is going through now. Joanna getting taken out by the Hungering Arrow, seeking a member and securing a kill. In terms of ultimates available right now for this base defense, they do have the Earthquake, like we touched on. Is it going to be enough to try and delay this onslaught? Because they're going to still try and push on through mid lane, through bot lane, and they might this time actually capitalize and take a keep.
Oh, this time they would have to, because if they get that keep, the Immortals can then spawn, they can push. Oh, I mean, they could just rotate up top and take out the... They don't want to go anywhere near the keep, Skimmy. We're getting a little bit frustrated. We say, you can do it. You have the level advantage. You've got the position advantage. But instead, they saw the Immortal come up and they wanted to make sure that they could deal out as much damage to this Immortal as possible, which is fair, because this Immortal, if they get a big enough shield, it's going to push hard.
Well, I think they're at that stage in the game right now where they're realizing, look, we're going to play it passively. We're going to play it like we know there's no possible chance of us actually throwing this game, which not necessarily is a bad thing to do, right? So they're going to go straight into this one. It doesn't even look like their shield's even going to be touched upon their side. Full health, Immortal, destroyed. And that is a big win condition already set up. 2 levels away, 10 kills to 2. Not many opportunities for Onyx United to actually get into this game. And they're really up against it. This fight really does secure the deal.
Onyx United are going to need to pull a rabbit out of the hat. 2 levels down, talent behind. They're going to need to pull out all the stops and play this one very smart. You can't bait the Immortal as you do with the Punisher. You can't just lead him away into your base. He's going to push through that keep and then go straight for the core. So if they get a great mosh off, the City Walk, as you said, win condition right there. They can then push for the victor, and they're going to be really, really aggressive.
Oh, look at this. Iota actually went for the rotate up in the top lane for that keep pressure. So even if this Immortal does not set up the win condition, they have lane pressure across the board. Rain of Vengeance was used. Double charges coming across here to try and make something happen here. They're looking for AC the man. Oh, Wailing Arrow actually coming in from the side, trying to snipe that kill, but it's just not going to be enough. They do finally get it. Thrall's the first to drop, followed by the Johanna, as they do now mount an assault on this bottom lane. They're looking for a triple kill as Artanis drops as well. Well, Alarak is in the winds of nowhere. A mosh pit coming out for style points right where he dropped. Little old Alarak left to his own device, looking to try and find some value wherever he can. Counter-Strike is just not going to be enough. That's not the game we're playing. We're playing Heroes of the Storm, and that is Citywalk winning the game.
Citywalk very convincingly winning the game, Skimmy. That was, as you said, such a careful game, so executed. They did not want to throw it all. They were just playing it very cautiously. As you said, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just you could have had more pressure, I guess, is why we were getting so frustrated. You could snowball even harder. You could do a Namia. Why not take it when you had it? But still, very well played. And I guess that brings us to MVP, Skimmy.
Does MVP?
I know. Are there any names that sort of jumped out at you? I mean, I'm just sort of trying to think. I saw a couple. But I really like the play coming out of MKL on his Kael'thas. I thought he played it really well, as well as Iota on Sylvanas, just getting that push. As you said, winning the solo lane. Sylvanas can sometimes be a weaker one, but playing it quite well. 0 deaths across the board. But yeah.
It comes down to MKL because, I mean, his hero is really well suited to actually dealing with these melee comps. And given that they actually kind of outdrafted themselves in that manner, they were sticking around for those living bombs to find immense amounts of value. I mean, even the convection talent, which we talk upon, is something that you really need to harp on and focus on, making sure it does not get completed and finds little to no value. He was able to complete that, sub 5 minutes, I believe. It was a ridiculous amount of time. So for me, in my eyes, Kelfast definitely had to be the MVP.
Definitely. All right. Wonderful. So MKL, congrats. You're our MVP for this second match.
Well, there we go, guys. An interesting draft there by Onyx United. Didn't work this time around, but that is week number 3, round number 2 is what I meant to say before we lead into the next series of games. But for the meantime, back over to you, Kev Fox.
Thank you very much, Skimmy and Vandy. And personally, I'm a little bit disappointed to see the Alarat comp not come through. He's one of my new favourite champions at the moment. But well done to City Walk for picking up the win. And well done to MKL too for picking himself up the MVP nomination into the GameStar MVP program. If you have just joined us, ladies and gentlemen, we are giving away 2 Probius bundles tonight. We're going to draw one of those at the end of game number 4. And the other one at the end of the broadcast after game number 5. So ! GS2Q into the Twitch chat if you haven't done so already to enter that. And that's all made possible thanks to Blizzard ANZ. So don't go anywhere because we'll be right back after this short break on Sky Temple after this.